Welcome to our very cheerful podcast about cheerful things that we don't care that much about, and we're happy people. Happy. Things are not going great, and we're here to talk about that. It felt like more precedented than focusing on a specific game or a theme talk this time, because we want to express our worry. Opposite to me, it's a worried, gentle creature. Vol. Hi, Vol.
Yeah, I am anxious and concerned.
He's anxious and concerned.
And very disappointed.
Oh, that's a very harsh thing to hear from your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a great time for this medium in this industry that we're going through. So we're interrupting our normal program. So this is a rarity because we never really, other than the game ads and the Jeff Keighley's, we don't do anything current.
We don't do anything of the industry either. Like, we don't focus on industry, we focus on the art that comes out of it. And maybe comes out of industry is also like, that sounds odd. I don't know. We don't go out of our way to comment on the industry itself, to comment on the health, let's say, of the industry, like in a spotlight way. We usually just kind of mention it, but it's never our focus of an episode.
Yeah, we may have touched upon previously trends in game development in terms of like design and approaches, but this is a little bit different than talking directly about what's going on.
Yeah, but it felt like shit's going down. This will definitely affect you, the listener, us as a podcast, and as very like passionate people that like have been enjoying this art form for like years. So I feel like shutting our eyes and continuing as everything is normal and playing two indie games and talking about it or something, like it feels a little bit like pretend at this point. We need to acknowledge what's going on, and
yeah.
And maybe also let me say that maybe this is also a form of therapy for me.
Oof, yeah, I've had a lot of I've had quite a lot of emotions, and most of them negative, or unpleasant, I should say, that I was kind of reflecting on since you suggested we do an episode on this, and I realized that I'm experiencing a lot of grief emotions these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe fitting based on the previous episode that we had.
Ah, yes.
You know, agree. Are you going through your 5 stages yet?
Mm-hmm.
Are you where are you on the acceptance bit? Anyway,
I am not a video game. I don't have stages.
Right. Unless you've been living under a rock, shit's been going down the last couple of weeks. We're currently recording on the 12th of July, so we have heard a lot. Maybe by the time you listen to this, more will have happened. So
yeah, because this will go up like nearly 2 weeks from us recording this, so a lot can happen in this time. So maybe what we're talking about here will be out of date. Who knows? There's a hope that something might have changed by that point, but
towards the better, let me say. Even though that's starting to feel less and less. It feels harder and harder that something's get worse right now, but I don't know, man.
Man, I don't. We'll get to that, but I don't really. I have hopes, but I don't have any expectations, and the hopes are probably, I don't know. I'm trying to hold on to them just to not become completely jaded with most of this industry. So let's get into it, because this very long introduction.
Let's get into it.
So Xbox started going through some stuff that they've been kind of ignoring from what it looked like for the past few years in terms of the sustainability of some of the stuff they're doing, which was obvious to a lot of people looking at what was going on there. But apparently Phil and his ilk were adamant that no, actually Game Pass is profitable and sustainable, and it actually leads to more sales of video games and all that. Turns out none of that was actually happening, and there's been a lot of rushed correction moves from what it looks like on Xbox happening at the moment.
It is, what's going on right now is a sharp turn. compared
Yeah.
to like what has been happening. Like it's just such a 180 from what, in theory, Phil Spencer and his team, lackeys, something, were trying to do before. Clearly, they have not been making the money that they that Microsoft would love to be making.
I mean, well, I think the problems with Xbox started way, way before Spencer. The problems, we've talked about this before. I think the problems started in the latter half of the Xbox 360 with Don Matrick, with chasing the Kinect, and then the TV, and then that damaged the reputation so much of the brand. I hate using that fucking word, and we'll get to like corporate
platform
problems. Platform.
Yeah.
And then Spencer took over to try to kind of steer that ship towards some form of recovery. But his idea was something that wouldn't really, in my opinion, have ever really worked with video games, which was to follow the Netflix model. And the reason I'm saying that I never believed this would ever work was that from data we have, the majority of people playing video games buy less than 2 video games a year. Is that because they only play 1 or 2 games a year? Is that because they spend most of the time playing free-to-play games? That's debatable, and maybe there's data to like support both. But the thing is that most people are not like us who engage with us.
No. We are a minority. People that are like us that don't really care as much, let's say. For this.
So what the idea that you would have like 75 to 100 million people subscribing on Game Pass for that to become sustainable is bonkers to me. Like, that reaches like numbers of active users on Steam, not paid subscribers on a something that would like offers value only if you play multiple games a month, which we do.
Yeah, we do, but
then what happens when we have that? We stop buying games. So if there's a limited number of people like us, you're never gonna reach the numbers that you need to make that shit sustainable. So it looks like the way they tried to do that was buy as many studios as they could, and then that wasn't working, and then they made them multi-platform. So then no one has any reason to buy Xbox consoles. It's a series of decisions and hard pivots in direction and strategy that to me speaks more of like corporate culture problems that have to do with Microsoft than Xbox itself. Like the studios and the people on the ground were fine, and I think are fine, or mostly in terms of their output, their capabilities, their potential. This is, I want to stress this every time we do these kinds of conversations. I am never criticizing the workers.
Oh no, absolutely not. It's not their fault in any way to have been acquired by a large corporation, been made to do what they can with the limited resources they have, churn out as much as possible for the least amount of money possible, trying to make the most amount of money, or not the most amount of money possible, way more than the most amount of money possible, and then being punished for not making all the money.
And it's a weird thing because they also like the conditions of success. Like if you have a parent company that pivots so wildly in terms of strategy and direction, the conditions of success will change also rapidly. So if you're, I don't know, like making decisions on what to do as a studio or as a company based on, well, we need to do this to be successful, and then that changes, then you're fucked. And who pays for this? The workers, never the people who make these decisions.
Of course. And also what you said before about the hard pivots and the rapid, rash changes that they have done in the past. Like, it all comes up to like end of financial year margin, kind of like pushing like stakeholder kind of mindset that like, okay, the financial year has ended. We have not made all the money like we wanted. All the money from the world, putting a lot of pressure on managers from there, and then the managers try to accommodate in some way that is usually just futile, let's say.
Also, we have some stuff that's come out like about the executives themselves. Like there was that story that was reported in the Digital Foundry podcast, but from some ex-dev who was working on, what the fuck was the game? Halo. It was in Halo, and I think it was Don Matrick, and they was showing it to him, and then he ignored completely what was being shown, and asked if anyone had played Diablo 3 and how they could do marketplaces within Halo. And everyone had to pretend that this was a great idea and pretend to start working on it, and while everyone also thought that this was the dumbest thing ever.
I mean, it makes sense that if you are there, you're scared to keep your job, you're scared about making an impression, you're trying to survive, because all these developers are trying to survive, and as we will talk about in 1 second, from now, they're not safe. They're never safe in that space. What are you gonna say? What can you do? Can you question the big stakeholder that asks stupid fucking questions with no idea how to actually create something of value?
No.
What can you do?
You can't really, because this is the person who has also shut down an entire studio, nearing completion of a game that was previewing very well in tests.
Was it Hi-Fi Rush?
No, I'm talking way back in early Xbox One days. I can't remember the thing now, what it was called. It was going to be some kind of, ironically, live service game in Halo, I think.
Okay.
And because Matrix, I think, if I remember right, bonus was dependent on X number of games being finished by a specific time, and this would ship after that time, it was more lucrative for him, allegedly, to shut down the studio because it would affect his bonus. So we're talking about people who only fucking care about their career advancement. The final goal, the only thing on site is money, and there's nothing else in there, and there's no option of redistributing wealth within the company. Of course, that would never happen. At least publicly, they've said shit like that. I don't know how it would work internally, but from Spencer's approach, some of the stuff that he was saying, or studios were being told that smaller stuff didn't necessarily need to make big bucks because other big hits could almost subsidize them, and then the smaller things could then add value to Game Pass as a whole service to attract a variety of customers. But I don't know whether that was actually true, whether that was true up to a point, and then they went and spent $70 billion buying Activision Blizzard, and that brought the chickens home to roost. And it was well, now we need to make money from everyone. This cannot be happening anymore. Or whether this has been a general shift in the industry, in the big players, of maximizing profit and devaluing variety and creativity. Because as we'll see later on where we'll talk about Sony, the leadership has changed massively since Sony was the good guy or so, if you will, in the console industry.
Quote unquote, yeah.
Quote unquote, yes. No corporation is a good guy, but there's been a huge cultural shift from my view, from how I perceive it.
Yeah, I think it's valuable to also say that we are not journalists, we're not business analysts.
No.
We're just people that enjoy the art form. We're critics, let's say, of art, not of company. So our knowledge is limited to the actual journalists that actually reporting on these things.
Yeah, and impressions, I suppose.
Yeah, and it doesn't also mean that we cannot see the faults in this system, because while we may not be a majority on how we feel about this medium of art, it doesn't mean that, let's say, our opinion and our experience is not valued in any way in the industry, because in the end, we are part of it. We are part of the people that want to play the narrative, the small stuff, whatever takes a leap forward. And all these changes that are taking place right now is to make sure that there's one platform out there less that would have things to put forward and advance the medium.
A bit of a shout out to a creator that we both love a lot, Daryl Talks Games. There was a very recent video of his that I watched yesterday where he was talking about whether there is such a thing as an objectively bad game. I'm not going to spoil the video. People go watch it. It's a very good video, and but it touched upon this problem that we found ourselves in with most big players just trying to play it as safe as possible.
Mm-hmm. And not only playing it as safe as possible, I think one issue that's happening currently in the games industry is that the disappearance of the middle range, like price game. Because right now, the bigger companies, let's say, are trying to make the ultra quadruple A, super realistic, runs 700,000 frames per second, looks like the most fucking real thing ever. It's like a movie, but you can play the movie, and it's better than a movie and longer than a movie, and it has to be 300 hours long. There is no limit on the amount of like ambition they put in like each and every one of the big things that they put out there. The big things are too big and too many. People don't have that much money. People don't have that much time. It is foolish to think that you can actually get what you want from only like putting all the eggs in one basket and expecting that to succeed. And I think we're seeing like a kind of a backlash to that, because right now, if you think about it, for the last few years, both Sony and Xbox have not been really doing much when it comes to middle range games. It all has to be either the full things or the smaller things. Weirdly enough, it feels like Xbox may have tried to do more in the middle range, smaller range.
That's the weird thing. I was just thinking about like I think there was a short period of like a few years under Phil Spencer that this was happening out of Xbox. Like there were some smaller things coming out, and I
that's
almost
not gonna be the case anymore.
That's not gonna be the case anymore. No, like you know how we don't want to be promoting Microsoft stuff because of issues that are bigger than video games themselves and what the parent company is involved in.
Yeah.
But I've been playing these days a game called As Dusk Falls, and it's like a Telltale-esque choose your own adventure kind of game that came out of Xbox. And it's like to the point that I almost had to kind of do a double check and go, is this an actual Xbox game? Oh, it is. Huh. Stuff that used to come out, like the weird shit that Sony used to make and they don't anymore. Other than, I don't know, Kojima, but Kojima is not weird. Like Kojima is weird shit, but Kojima is safe. He's a safe investment. It's
a safe investment because it's just a name that people will follow.
Yeah,
because he has stuff.
If Kojima wasn't Kojima, was making what Kojima is making, I don't think anyone would be giving him money.
Oh no, I don't think so. Anyway, let's stop beating around the bush and actually go to what has happened in Xbox the last couple of weeks. So, as a result of what we mentioned before about the business model that clearly has failed over the last few years, about 3,200 layoffs have been mentioned. 1,600 of them decided. 1,600 are already done. Big studios like id Software and Obsidian have been damaged by this. We're talking like the studios lost people that were behind some of our greatest of all time games,
and some of the greatest tech of all time as well.
Yeah, also like Fallout, New Vegas, like Doom 2020, 2012, 2016.
16 was the reboot.
16. So yeah, we're expecting another 1,600 by the end of this year. A financial year, that is. Blue Sky is, as a platform, parenthesis, follow us in Blue Sky, is littered with people that developers and people that were working in those studios talking about them being kicked out after helping to create the games that like hundreds of thousands, maybe more people have played out there, like Outer Worlds 2 and Psychonauts 2, and no, actually Psychonauts 2, we'll talk about that in a bit. But like, especially like when it comes to studios we love, like this is generally like heartbreaking.
Obsidian has been quite prolific in terms of output. Of all the studios that Xbox has, they've put out multiple games in the past 6 years.
Yeah, which I don't know how either. Like, they are very productive and the quality remains high.
Because I think they keep the scope kind of contained. Yeah. And in fact, like, from what it sounds like, they were working on an Avowed sequel that was quite far into development.
Yeah, that's gone.
And that's gone, although it's said that some people are still working on it in the hopes that Microsoft will see how close it is to completion and they will let them actually finish it. But the order has come down that they need to make another Fallout. So, but like the stuff Obsidian makes would never make the big bucks or be the huge hit that like something like Minecraft is.
No.
Or Call of Duty or whatever. And there's two things to be said here. One is how fucking cruel it is to announce that we're laying off 3,200 of yous. 1,600 will go now. 1,600 will go at some point by the end of next year.
So, like, all of these people under like the studios. Yeah, like working with a threat above your head that your head's about to be chopped off.
And this does not include outside contractors and vendors. Because as Schreier was saying, about 50% of what Xbox is cutting down is the use of external vendors. Which means there will be a lot more people that will be laid off through those vendors that are not counted in this.
Yeah,
as a result of this decision.
This is core Xbox teams we're talking about.
Yeah. We should also point to the fact that a lot of these people that are being laid off are from art design and narrative design teams.
Yes. It will come up why this is...
Yeah.
Okay, studio closures were announced, or basically like Xbox saying like, we're not going to be working with the studios anymore. Either we're going to be closing them or whatever. As it started, it was teetering between like being like sold off or closing studios. Currently, the states have been set a little bit different. So among the studios that were in danger were Double Fine, Compulsion, Ninja Theory, and Dead Labs, and also one of Arcane Studios.
Yeah, the Leon one.
Yeah. Positive news out of this.
Ish.
I hope it's positive, because I hope the transition is easy for them, is that Double Fine and Compulsion have gone back to being independent.
Yeah.
I really hope that this is like a bloodless, let's say, transition, that it is as little the impact as possible. I'm happy
as bloodless as the transition may be, my concern is that I don't know much about Compulsion, but Double Fine was struggling to survive being independent. So I don't know how well this will work out for them. And sadly, their output in the last couple of games have not been games that have had much of a, I don't know, commercial success.
Okay.
But then it's hard to know what commercial success is when your game is day one on the Game Pass. So
Also, it's hard to know what the commercial success is when like half of your audience potentially has been alienated because they don't have access to an Xbox.
There's that. There's also
like those are games that I would play, but I cannot.
Yeah,
and I will not, because I'm not going to buy an Xbox.
True.
True. Yeah.
Also, I would probably guess that most of the Xbox audience has been conditioned to not want to buy games. Because and that includes me. Like, if something is on Game Pass, I'll play it on Game Pass if I have Game Pass. I'm not going to spend more money. And also, I'm not going to buy something digitally. So there's that. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs are up for purchase for anyone interested. Ninja Theory, like when they freshly had announced their next Hellblade, like they put a trailer out, and then it came out that Xbox was just trying to make investors interested or make like potential buyers interested by making a trailer for a game that hasn't been made and announcing it, and then saying like, "Oh, no, actually, we're gonna just murder the team now." It's gone.
I mean, they showed State of Decay 3 as well, and the decision apparently had already been made for that.
Labs, yeah. I know. I'm more passionate for Hellblade. I'm talking about Hellblade.
Yeah, fair enough. There are already, from what was reported, the buyers are already like the deals are in place. They've not announced them yet. So
yeah, I mean, my hope is that someone gets them that actually cares about the medium. Most likely, though, it's going to be someone like Epic or Tencent or something, which is not positive.
There's a part of me that hopes that Sega buys some of these stuff, but like just for the lols. But
I don't
actually,
know
if it's for the lols, I would want Nintendo to go and buy half of the Xbox studios.
that would potentially be better. Surprisingly, I don't know.
It would be hilarious considering the history of Microsoft wanting to buy Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I don't know. But
hilarious.
Yes. If Sega comes back and they become a competitor, I'll be more than happy because there needs to be more competition right now in what's going on. Anyway, all this is happening under the new head of Xbox CEO, whatever you call him, whatever, corporate speak, Asha Sharma.
Xbox head? I don't know.
I don't know. So Asha Sharma's from very brief research that I did, background comes from AI. Mm-hmm. She was previously part of the core AI team of Microsoft. So what I see this transition is Microsoft basically saying like, we are not treating this anymore like art. There's not even a pretense that we do. This is all 100% stuff. We're producing stuff. We're trying to find ways to make stuff faster and easier and cheaper. So they're putting someone of AI on the forefront. Some of the words that Asa has put out is, we are operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platforms and publishing businesses. To me, it's a complete lack of understanding of what they should be doing in this case. It's like we were doing one thing before. Let's just hard pivot way to the other side, do something completely different. Just go down the tech bro fucking route. Just think only about the end goal, which is money. And, you know, there's just like such lack of humanity in all of this. I don't know. It's so hard to accept this shit.
This applies to both things that we want to touch upon today, both Xbox and PlayStation. On this level, these people don't see the people impacted as humans. They are statistics and numbers on spreadsheets. It's, in my opinion, completely dehumanized process.
Yep.
So why would they care about what they're providing to people if they're not seen as people? I think anyone on these kinds of levels of corporations, and I would argue even governments, have a fundamental disconnect with the qualitative side of the impact of their decisions and their whatever they're doing and their policies. Like everything becomes a number, everything becomes quantitative data that where like a huge chunk of the actual experience of the impact of whatever you're enacting gets completely lost and ignored. And they don't like that because qualitative stuff is messier.
Mm-hmm. And all of this, of course, comes in this like issue of the ambitions of an endless expansion of the business. Like, I feel that sometimes, and it'll stop me if I'm being crazy here, but I feel that sometimes corporations should know that, like, whoa, this is like, we're making a lot of money. Maybe we should just stay where we are. We don't need to expand more. Probably people don't have more money.
This is a systemic problem, though. Like, we should be careful a little bit about how we talk about these corporations and these companies. We often anthropomorphize them and talk about corporate greed and this and that. This is the system. This is a problem of the system. If you're a publicly traded company, you exist to maximize profit. So everything that you will do within that company will have to be like that. Like if you or I go and run Microsoft, if Microsoft is a publicly traded company, we will have to do the same shit. Otherwise, they would just kick us out. We would never even get to that point of making, like, going up the ranks. So this idea that I saw with Sharma and some people initially going, oh, she's a savior of Xbox. What the fuck are you on about? How do you think anyone can get to that position unless they are playing the fucking system? Like a private company that is just, you make the decisions and everything, and maybe it's like all worker owns and stuff like that. You can make decisions because you own the company. It's up to you. You can decide that, hey, I have enough money to sustain this. I can keep going like this for it to be sustainable. But as long as it's publicly traded, that is not an option. So this is not Sharma, this is not Spencer, this is the system. That is the part that needs to change.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, this is a mirror towards the system. Like, I'm not saying that I'm anthropomorphizing companies or whatever, but at the same time, it's like Microsoft is one of the biggest players out there. It won't take too much pushback from like one of these kind of like hyper entities to actually make like a little bit of a difference. But of course, that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, especially like if that's like a minority. I mean, if you're one of the biggest companies in the whole world, who's going to give a shit if you just bow out of the system at some point? Anyway,
so there's been some weird statements that she's made, like kind of almost taking a dump on Phil Spencer. Which...
Yeah, she did. Like, not that I loved Spencer or whatever, not that I felt like he handled it greatly, because he had this idea of like Game Pass working and also like way too focused on franchises but like not being like, I don't know, attractive enough to... I'm not sure what could Xbox have done to be successful. But like this hard pivot to make Xbox only a core franchise company of just producing your Gears of Wars, your Fallouts, your Elder Scrolls, your Call of Duties, your Dooms, is like... So to me, so like short-sighted.
Also, it doesn't make sense. Like, it seems nonsensical to me because like they want to make stuff exclusive again while not wanting to sell consoles. So what is the point of making shit exclusive? How are you gonna grow your audience if you shrink your audience? Like, what?
Yeah, no.
Like, let's make shit exclusive, but let's up the prices of consoles by $150 now because we can't make consoles anymore because... Wait for it. We can't get chips because of the AI boom. This is where, like, Tim Robinson comes in dressed like a fucking hot dog and tells you that we're really trying to find who was responsible for this.
Yeah. Also, funny enough, Asha Sharma shortly after was named as advisor to the U.S. Federal Reserve's on jobs and productivity, according to a Video Games Chronicle article. It's not about, like, it might sound good or something in paper, but no, it's AI. It's about using AI to make a task force smaller, cheaper, and make sure that like companies spend less money on it by using AI. With everything here, like, okay, other than that, like, I really dislike her language that's so like candid and like and light when it comes to like, destroying about 3,000 something like people's lives that we know of. Anyway, the question that comes down from all of this is, does Xbox even have a future?
Xbox will have at least 1 billion daily...
Oh yeah, she did say that.
Yeah.
1 billion daily active users.
Something like this, yeah. So, apparently it has a great future.
1/8 of the population of a planet where wealth is very unequally distributed towards
we'll
the
engage
smaller
daily with Xbox.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do now? Instead of buying vegetables, I'm gonna play Call of Duty on the Xbox that costed me £1,200 this year because of AI.
I saw a comment under one of these videos that was saying that how someone was saying like they've worked in several companies, and every time that this was happening, like managers started setting wild goals, it was because the company was starting to go under. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe they'll brand every Windows PC an Xbox, and they'll go, look, someone logged in the Windows. They're using Xbox.
Oh, Asus made an Xbox, not us. Anyway, I have a feeling that Microsoft is just done with Xbox and they want to kick them out.
Yeah, I think they'll keep the branding. They'll probably try to turn Minecraft into Roblox. Mark my words. I'm making a prediction here. And everything else will be Fallout, Call of Duty. I don't think Gears has a future. I think Gears and Coalition are kind of set out to die, to be killed, are fodder at this point. The fact that they at the very last minute, they made the new Gears an Xbox exclusive when it was like retailers were setting up shelf space for PS5 copies and shit like that. That to me, like I really feel for the people in that studio.
I feel the similar ways for id Software personally, because in my case, like my attachment is with Doom and Wolfenstein, and seeing like what has come out, like I feel like also id Software is in trouble.
It's okay. Copilot will make some great Halo and Gears games.
I'm looking forward to not playing them ever.
Yeah.
But on the other side, we have some great competition that is doing so much better and great things for video games. Sony has been doing great and make sure to help preserve art.
So Sony has been doing great, and that's part of the problem, actually, because they don't have any competition right now.
Yeah. I mean, earlier this year they introduced dynamic pricing on their online store. Bless you. They introduced dynamic pricing in the online store. This is basically some form of like automatic algorithm AI bullshit saying like, oh, you buy more games, let's increase the price for you. Or something in certain games. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's make sure to maximize money. I
don't know exactly what it is. Like, certainly Amazon does this.
Amazon does this with their products, yes.
Yeah.
And the more you buy, the more expensive shit it is.
Yeah, different prices, different people, and I see this as customer manipulation devices, but yeah.
Yeah, it is shitty, but like, you know, people kind of shrugged it off and moved on. Not much happened. However, as of early in July, they said that they will be stopping to produce physical games starting in January 2028.
Which they did by announcing that in a fucking blog post and then disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what, like, this is part of what I was meaning earlier when I said that I have noticed, or I have the impression that there's been a cultural change within the company since earlier days, where there was actual communication. Like this, like, surely such an announcement, you want to make it in a different way? If you care, let's say that this is a good decision, right? That's how you fucking announce this? In a fucking blog post?
I think clearly they knew that it was not something that's going to be taken well, and they wanted to take as less of a punch from the public as possible.
So then what do you do if you care a little bit? You try to present it in a way, we'll go, look, we're doing this, but look at all these benefits that you're going to get out of this. Look at the plans we have to, take care of the existing customers and all your physical libraries and everything. Nothing.
There was nothing there. There was no benefits in the front of like, oh, maybe digitals will be cheaper. No.
Or here's how we will improve our store and the security of your fucking accounts, maybe.
No, none of that. Nothing. Of course, nothing about DRM or like, you know, ownership or whatever. Just licensing bullshit. All of that comes with like an implication that like Sony has not been making a lot of money out of physicals. Partially, like it's like they have to pay licensing, they have to pay third-party fees if it's like from another studio, the logistics of everything. Personally, I don't give a flying shit what they have to pay. It's a piece of art that I want to buy, that I want to have in my collection, and you're taking that away. If you want to actually look into the logistics and the financial stuff, like I would suggest you just watch Jason Schreier in YouTube or any of his articles. Like honestly, like he's really good. That actually goes more into depth in that.
Yeah, for actual journalism, check out Jason Schreier, not us. Yeah.
And also, this comes from them saying that players prefer digital games anyway, based on stats, based on like what they have sold over the years of the PlayStation 5. Which in reality is that most of the games you sell on the PlayStation 5 don't even have physical editions. And a lot of the games that do have physical editions are limited. So, what is the comparison? What are you comparing to?
It's biased data and presented in a very biased way because, yes, if you include, like a fair comparison would be to compare data for games that were both physical and digital and see what the split is. Even with that, Capcom and other companies have not made enough physical copies lately. So it skews the data towards where would they want it to be skewed.
And that's why currently, like, I'm trying to find certain games that I want to have in my library, and the prices are extortionate because there's just not enough copies. Like, they just don't make them.
But also, even like, there is a truth to that, but it's not the whole truth, because I think last year they sold 70 million copies of physical games. That's a lot of fucking copies to sell.
Yeah, it is. I was part of that. Like, I bought physical copies. I like having things in my library. And also, people want to just lend their game to a friend, or if they don't love the game, to sell it so they can get another game or something.
Yeah.
It's so much, takes away, so much control from players. And they're not even introducing, a game share thing like Nintendo has. We can talk about Nintendo as well in a bit. I don't think the Angels or whatever, especially with Nintendo Switch 2, the physical copies of games have massively decreased, and they have, their little codes on the cassette.
Cards, yeah.
Which is the same thing that, they're doing, in not even the same thing. It's worse what they're doing at Sony, because you just get a game code on, in a fucking case. So you spend money on plastics and fucking logistics to send someone a game code? Yeah. Why? Why even put it out? So someone can think I opened the GTA 6 fucking game. No, you didn't. You fucking found a piece of paper in it with a number. I know there are people out there that are still gonna buy GTA 6. I know that GTA 6 is most likely gonna make the most amount of money a game has ever made before.
Mind you, this has been already happening. Their collector's editions and special editions in the past this last generation, more often than not, came with game codes and not with a disc.
Yeah.
When a physical version of the game did exist, it's not like it was only digital. Microsoft has been doing the same thing, putting not codes in discs, but the discs basically had an installer and the game wasn't on it, which is also a different kind of problem. And here, there's a lot of conflating of different issues in the discussion that's been happening that I've noticed about what Sony is doing. There's the part of the ownership and the customer rights, and that's important. But the archiving and preservation is a different thing. If I have a copy of Indiana Jones physically, it still needs to download the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a physical version of a license for it, as long as Microsoft wants this game to be downloaded, as long as they host it. So what do I really own? I mean, I own I have more rights to it than I would have had if it was just a digital purchase or rental. But I still don't really have the game. I can't go offline if say they shut Xbox down in 5 years and they go, well, fuck you, we don't care about this anymore. We'll shut all the servers down because this costs us money. All those games disappear, even though we have discs. So,
yeah, it's been a long-standing issue since games have advanced. The day one patches and everything. The fact that you maybe you own an inferior version to the game, like in the best of times, because like it just hasn't been polished and updated post. Like, imagine going and playing right now the base version of Cyberpunk.
But that's important to exist because that thing existed for archival purposes, for historical purposes, for the purpose of research, of understanding the history of the medium. Yes, I want to be able to go back and play the launched version of Cyberpunk on the PS4 if I want. Of course.
I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying that if you want to play the actual good version, like that is like that got made like 4 or 5 years later, but you only have a disc and you're offline. You get shit. That's what you
get. Ironically, the Xbox Series X version of that game, what's it called? The Ultimate Edition, that does have the entire game plus the expansions with all the updates on. The PlayStation does not.
Yeah, I don't own it. I'll never will. It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's different topics here, and like if we want to be real about it, for me, there's a part of me that cares very much about the ownership part of it. Partly, I will say because it stings personally because I have lost an account for stupid like automated reasons. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast, but back in 2020, my Xbox account, my Microsoft account got locked for suspicious activity after the system thought that someone had gained access on it because I signed in from a different device and I used Skype to make an actual phone call, which was part of my then subscription. And immediately after, I got messages that there's been suspicious activity in your account, blah, blah, blah. And then they locked it for violating the terms of service. And then I could get nowhere. So I lost all Xbox content, everything. Currently, we know that like Sony has a problem with accounts getting hacked and then getting deleted or blocked. So these are all important problems around here. So part of it is the ownership, yeah. But also the other part for me is the preservation and the archiving, which is a very different discussion. Like, if we go to a point where we had DRM-free stuff, or we had access to, like, right to download or right to access, independent of your fucking profile and account, like, I purchased this, now I can make a fucking copy of it and have it as a backup. Or it's guaranteed that anything I purchased digitally, I will still be able to access it, and it will still be, there will be systems that will allow libraries, that will allow museums, that will allow researchers access. Then yes, okay, let's go to digital. It's probably better for the environment. But we're not there. Yeah. And we're not moving towards there because the fucking publishers and all the fucking corporations, including the fucking ESA, want to block everything. Because it will impact on profit.
Yeah. It's about control. It's about making sure that they can turn the off switch whenever they want, so they can charge you more money to have like the future PlayStation Premium thing, so you can Netflix play Mr. Mosquito or the equivalent of that from today in the future. It's just them making sure that that we just don't have the access that we want after we already paid for the fucking game.
Because this is not art for them. This is not culture for them. It's a commodity. It's a product. It's a service. That's the crux of it. They don't value, at least the people who run these places at this point, they don't value these things even as products. all they see is how can we, what it seems like is how can we make the most money out of this. And the writing on the wall has been there for a while with Sony, because if you looked at like what they've been saying lately about how to absorb costs and stuff like that, and how they cannot sell things at a loss anymore, and they've hinted at increases of PS Plus, they've hinted at increases of game prices. So all this to me reads as like the next console is going to be really expensive. Way less people are going to buy it, so we need to get more money out of the people who do. And they're already doing that. And this is all partly a symptom of what's going on in the tech industry at the moment, with everything being going into AI investments and everything else drying up or being inaccessible. Like Valve released a Steam machine and they were saying that they couldn't source RAM. So,
and it's one of the, if not the most expensive console that has ever been released because of this. So, yeah.
I want to also go on a bit of a tangent here, very briefly. I fucking hate the corpus speak that has crept into all this.
Don't
cultural
fucking
discussion.
get me started.
Like,
I hate it so much.
One thing that really bugs me, like, people talk about consumer rights and us consumers this and us consumers that. This is corpus speak. It's dehumanizing. Like, they are companies, okay, corporations. We are customers, not consumers. A relationship with a customer implies a different kind of dynamic and a different attitude and a different culture. Consumer to me is someone who passively just takes whatever they're given, and then you have content. The content creator and will produce content, endless content for the consumer. It's like a fucking centipede of, anyway.
Yeah.
Probably a whole different discussion to go into, like, the language, because this is something that does interest me, and I would like to, sometimes we do that ourselves.
Yeah, we mentioned that before. Also, like, I may have said in the past, like, I don't buy this, for example,
or something. I was not sold on this, or this didn't sell me.
Not sold on it. Yeah. Like,
I say that
we're talking about art.
Yeah,
and it clearly, we're talking about a company that does not view this as art, does not view this as something of cultural value, despite, you know, I mean, in a capitalist world, art is not the most lucrative of money sources. There's no respect to it.
It shouldn't be about the money at all.
Of course it shouldn't be about
that. But, like, at the same time, yes.
And we can have a longer discussion about what capitalism is doing and where capitalism is going. Because capitalism is going somewhere, and I don't think it's a good place for it. Something is going to change, but, like, I think we're seeing, like, a symptom of it. And I know we're talking about video games, but, like, I think this also reflects our political ideas as well, when we're talking about how we feel that this is being tackled right now.
There is something perhaps...
It's pathetic.
There is something perhaps hopeful to take from all of this, which is that I've seen way more people talk in these terms, and way more, like a lot more attempts in the US and here in the UK that I follow stuff more, because just the access to news and stuff of attempts, like efforts to unionize. A lot more commentators online are starting to speak in these kinds of terms that you didn't used to. So there is a shift that's slowly happening in how people think about this.
There is, and one thing that I wanted to say, like, with everything happening both in Xbox and Sony, is that people are mad, and they make sure that the companies know they're mad. I am so proud of everyone that is reacting online, that making their voice heard, that they are just like almost like incessantly, like the spamming their rage against fucking Sony, like discontinuing physical games. I am proud of people for going on Blue Sky, and instead of, you know, liking their silly posts and their cat videos, they actually go to Sony and, like, reply to them, being like, bring back physical.
Yeah, there's a cynical part in me that sees this and doesn't really have any faith that people will follow all this stuff up with actions. I hope that at least a significant part does. I know I will. I know you will. I know other people who will, but I don't know if there'll be enough. Also, I don't know if Sony will care, even if everyone who cares about physical doesn't follow onto the PS6 and doesn't buy any more of their games.
Yeah.
I think my guess is that they've factored this kind of risk into their decision, and they've decided that no, we'll actually profit way more out of doing this in the long run. So, fuck them.
So, what do we do? What is our plan?
Well, I will still get every physical game that I can until they stop making them. At least, if anything else, for just the statement of there are people who care about this. Maybe this will. The hope here is that publishing partners will perhaps put pressure because they might want to still make physical games. I doubt that will be the case because, as Schreier was also pointing out, the publishers also are starting to benefit from this.
Of course, yeah.
So
they're cutting. Yeah. Like when it comes to producing a physical copy, they're cutting a third partner, and the logistics and the licensing bits. This is all like it's going to be between the two companies, the platform holder and the publisher.
Where I'm mixed with this is like part of the reason I was mostly buying the physical stuff on the PS5 was that I expected and I believed that the PS6 would still be a physical capable console, and then PS7 would probably be the end. And I'm like, by that point, who knows? Like, I'll be fine if I retire from gaming after PS6 or something. And I was thinking that because of seeing the apparent commitment that Sony had to physical releases, with the games being actually on disc and still making games, make physical copies for everything. I didn't expect it to happen now. I didn't expect it to happen so early and for Sony to be the one who would initiate it. But apparently, I underestimated the change in corporate culture in that company. So I'm not really sure now because I'm starting to think, okay, do I build up a physical library and then once this generation is over and once PS5 stops working, it doesn't move forward anywhere. And I've had these thoughts on and off the past few years, especially since I switched to Linux, and then I started thinking more and more about like how much I care about having control over the devices I use and being increasingly against like closed systems and proprietary stuff. And consoles were the exception, were the outlier for me, for what decisions I'm making in my life. And I was thinking, okay, the main reason is because they have physical copies. Like, if all else being equal, I would rather play stuff, I would rather use my PC for everything, where I have control of my device, of the system I use, of whatever the fuck I do with it. But now with that, I'm starting to think, okay, well, is there a point in still buying physical stuff? If it is on GOG, for example. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to play it for perhaps another decade because my PC is old and the problems with hardware are not like limited to consoles. Like, have you seen what it costs to build a PC right now?
Yeah, I have, unfortunately.
And that's the other thing. Like, consoles, like there were two main things for my preference of consoles. One was the physical games, and the other one was that historically, up to including the PS5 and Xbox Series, the model was such that the device was cheap.
Yeah.
Way cheaper than an equivalent PC at the time of release. So this was an affordable way for me to keep up with gaming. Because I could get a device, then I could get like cheaper games physically, or we could send games to each other. We could like buy used stuff. Libraries apparently have video games, not in my area and not here. I kind of had a look before we recorded today to see what the situation is and with libraries and video gaming in the UK, and it was very hard to find. information, but apparently in the US, Canada, Finland, other places, like, they lend games as well. So a lot of people would do that. Like the way I used to do when I was growing up, renting video games out of video stores and stuff like that. So all this goes out the way. I can't give, I don't know, theoretically speaking, because I don't have any nieces or anything or nephews, but let's say I did. And I wanted them to explore video games, right? I could give them my old console with all my old video games. And that's another person getting into fucking gaming. That cannot happen anymore. Because it's against terms of service to give someone your account. There's no provision of like changing ownership, or even, I don't know, like at some point we'll start thinking about our wills, right? And what we do with our stuff when we die. We can't give our accounts away to other people. It's illegal, apparently. So all that is to say, I'm still trying to kind of process this and figure out what to do going forward. Like, any games that my PC can currently run, I will probably prefer them on GOG because it's DRM free, and then I can make backup copies of this. If I lose my account, if GOG goes under, as long as I have the installers, I can play the game. I can install the game. So I don't know. I may just go with like whatever's cheaper. Maybe I'll buy stuff like physical stuff on Xbox as well. But yeah, I'm very disappointed, man.
I get it. But personally, I'm not going to continue with PlayStation. It was already kind of tempting to me that I might not move forward with PlayStation the next generation, because PlayStation, for me right now, lacks a library that I can access a lot of smaller games that I care for. So I was already attracted to the idea of building a PC or having a Steam machine. That now seems more unaffordable. However, if I am to decide myself that, you know what, fine, I'll bite the bullet, move on forward, make a PC, and prioritize GOG and Steam under that, I think also the cost of games themselves is so much lower that I will be able to just have a better quality of life going forward than I would in a PS6.
You mean like smaller games that are not being released on consoles?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
They are cheaper. I am more interested in them. PlayStation has not been keeping my attention with their releases that much anymore.
Yeah, this last generation has been quite dire in that sense.
Yeah, like there is the occasional game that I care for, like and like, well, you will see also in the HGF episode that we made is that okay, they make their Laufey and their Wolverine games and Marvel, and I'm like, hey, I would play it, but I don't think if I did not have the option to play it, I don't think anything would happen in me that would be like, oh damn. I think it would be like, whatever. I will move on.
Yeah, I will admit that I've been getting a bit tired of all the superheroes games.
Yeah.
And we are getting, like, I would even include God of War in the superhero games, because you are kind of that.
It's a bit of a different beast, let's say. Because also, like, it has a different approach in the storytelling that normally superhero stuff do. And it's not that the superhero stuff that Sony puts out is bad. It's just that, but where's the originality in your stuff? Yeah. Like,
I know you don't like the, like, when was the last really original thing that excited you that came out of Sony? Was it Bloodborne?
But Bloodborne would be my first thoughts. I don't remember if Last Guardian was after. It was after, right?
Oh yeah, you might be right.
After.
Maybe it was after.
I think potentially Last Guardian.
I know you don't like the game, but like for me, I would include that with asterisks. That I know it's problematic from certain points of view, but that game like really moved me a lot. The Last of Us Part 2.
Uh-huh.
That was for me.
Sequel.
That was the last. Still a sequel, yes, but it made some bold things that you can criticize them for pacing and for other stuff, but like it wasn't a safe game in the way that Spider-Man is and Wolverine is, and
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Also, let's say like, they like franchises, but now Insomniac is only doing video games for superheroes. I want Insomniac to do like more like Ratchet and
I want
Clank
to do
instead.
something new.
Or new, yeah. Like,
yeah.
I would rather like have that than superhero stuff. Anyway,
this is a problem with the audience as well. Like, I've seen so many people wanting more Uncharted, for example. It's like, fuck off with more Uncharted. Like, make something new. Fuck off.
Anyway,
fuck off with your nostalgia and your comfort food, man. Like, anyway,
So yeah, I am not moving forward with the PlayStation. I am not willing to give up on smaller indie games. I will pay the price eventually to make my own PC. I know it's gonna hurt financially, but I know that it's just a better investment.
Having said that, like, there is a thing that we don't really take into account very much, which is that there are some things that have been normalized and become standard in the console space. The paying to play online, the paying to have cloud saves and backups of your saves, like, especially in the PS5, like PS4, you could back up your saves. And then Nintendo starts charging for save backups, and then Sony follows through, and then now you need to pay for fucking subscription to back up your fucking saves. Because they've blocked being able to like copy them and back them up on a USB stick or something. You need to like pay for that. And even Microsoft allows you to have free fucking cloud saves for your backup, for your saves. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy that we're at that point.
Which means that when I eventually move to like, I don't know, a PC or a Steam machine, I don't know, maybe I move to a Steam machine. It means
you don't need a Steam machine. You need to build build a PC and just stick like any mainstream Linux distribution you can install Steam on it and then run it on big picture mode or whatever if you want it to look like a console. Yeah, okay. Steam machine has some conveniences, like you can turn it on from the controller and stuff like that, so it behaves a bit more like a console. So I get it. If okay, I'll retract a bit because I'm someone who really enjoys the DIY part of building a PC. If you don't enjoy that, or if you're too intimidated and you don't have anyone in your circle to guide you through it and help you, then the Steam machine makes sense. Fair enough. Like, there's a convenience tax that I can understand that some people would prefer, and I wouldn't argue against it.
And it will potentially still be cheaper than building a PC for games.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Interesting.
If you want it to be as small as a Steam machine, yes, but a normal PC, you could go with some used parts, like some parts for PC building, getting them used is very safe. You don't even need to go and buy a brand new case. You don't need to, like, there's a lot of stuff that you can buy from eBay, like graphics cards and stuff like that. Like, most of my PC building has been with second-hand parts over the years, and I've never really had any problems.
But we're talking new. Because Steam Machine eventually will be used as well. And you could save some money with that as well.
Yeah. I'm guessing there will be a while before it stops being scalped, though, in terms of prices because of availability.
And we are also talking that, like, assuming that you want to build a PC that's going to run fucking, like, big games. Like the Steam Machine does, like, with Death Stranding 2 and stuff.
It does. Well, different kind of discussion. There are channels more tech-oriented than we are to give you.
Yeah, I'm not tech-oriented. Like, the Steam Machine is attractive because I've never built a PC before in my life.
You never built a PC in your life.
Potentially that. But that said, I'm not quitting games. I don't think I need to stop saying industry. The medium is dead.
Yeah. The industry can fucking die for like years. Yeah. As it is.
I will continue supporting video games. I will continue playing video games until I make my own PC that can run bigger games. I will support the games that I care for whatever way I can. I will buy physical games until they go away. And then PlayStation can go fuck itself because they just keep taking from me. I'm not gaining anything else. And they're not exciting me with their catalog at this point. So, like, I don't have any big attachment to PlayStation anymore. They don't have monopoly on something that I care. And what would I be super excited for? To play more God of War? I played 2 God of War games that were good.
Yeah.
Horizon, I don't care. Like, whatever. Let's move on.
My attachment to PlayStation has been more sentimental and library investment, I guess, over the years, because I've been playing on a PlayStation since PS1. So I have a lot of games that, well, arguably are stuck on the older platforms because nothing plays PS2 games at the moment other than PS2s. Unless you have a launch PS3 model, which you're playing with fire at that point. Not literal, but they had quite a high failure rate as well. Can't play PS3 games on anything else than the PS3, so I suppose going forward I accept the same kind of thing for PS4 and 5. At least I have 2 options there. I have a large PS4 collection. Hopefully we'll still be able to find used PS4s that work for our remaining lives. I don't know. How long has the PS2 been out? More than 20 years, right?
26 years, maybe.
Yeah, okay. At 26 years from now, we'll be, in our 60s or something. So we'll probably be
speak
okay.
for yourself, man.
Okay, you'll be in your late 50s, right? Okay.
Even if they take all the new games from me, and I'm left only with
they can't take the sky from you.
I'm just not quitting it, man. Look, we're living in a world that what they do is that they keep taking from us. Like they keep taking advantage. They're commodifying art. They're making it harder and harder for us to experience it. One thing they cannot commodify is that take away my happiness. I'm gonna fucking stay happy, and they can go fuck themselves. They can bring me down, pieces of shit. I'm gonna keep experiencing everything that makes me happy, and you cannot fucking stop me, assholes.
Yeah.
And the podcast will keep going. Don't give a fuck. We're gonna play the games that we want, talk about the games that we want. We're not gonna support the games that we don't like from people we don't like, and we're gonna make sure that we're gonna do our best to highlight things that we believe have artistic value, are smaller, are independent, and everything. How we will go on, we're gonna keep adapting until we cannot do it anymore, either because of age or because this has reached the point of total shit.
Yeah, I don't know how much this is something that you care about. Like, I know one thing that I will miss, like, is this childlike excitement of getting a new system, like a new console.
Yeah,
I think that's just the thing that I grew up with, and I have associated with video games. There's a part of me that engages with this medium as an art form, and on that I'm with you 100%. But there's also part of me that engages with this as a hobby, and part of the hobby is this excitement of like the generational cycle and new device, and seeing like what's it gonna look like, what the controllers are gonna look like, the UI, the new stuff that comes with it that makes it feel special and separate from the other one. Like, this is a childlike excitement that I'm gonna miss out on.
I understand it. I understand that you like this. Personally, for me, the excitement always came from the games, and the rest was the medium for me. It was just a way of getting there. So
no, that's fair.
So for me, the fact that people are out there making inspiring fucking stuff, like, they're still out there, and the sentiment that we have is way more popular now than it has ever been. So we are looking forward to some changes. I don't know what changes and when, but we will see stuff. I hope there's going to be competition that is going to start bringing things back. I know GOG is doing a really nice job, and it's the one that I would say, like, it's the top choice out of everything.
Sadly, not everyone publishes on GOG because a lot of publishers are allergic to DRM-free stuff.
However, if more people are starting to support GOG and it becomes a bigger platform, what's going to be the choice? Not going there,
which is again the argument, like, because I've seen people go like, whoa, like, you're complaining about all things being digital and then you're switching to PC. Yes, because it's a fucking open platform. It's not, you're not locked to one store. If PC meant we're locked to like the Microsoft store, then okay, I guess we can pivot this podcast to be about tabletop games or something. I don't know.
If you want to do a book or a movie podcast, I'm happy.
But that's the other thing. Like, historically as well, a major reason also that I was playing on consoles was because I didn't like playing using Windows. So when that switch happened, and now that gaming is at least the gaming I care about, because I don't give a fuck about like some of the multiplayer games that have anti-cheat that don't work on Linux. But now the most, if not all, the games that I care about run on Linux just fine. This is such an obvious move to make when physical games are out the window. So, and fuck it, man. I'll get like a fucking Blu-ray burner. I'll make my own physical games out of GOG copies and put them on my library, on my bookcase.
That is an option, you know. It's fine as long as you don't distribute them illegally. Who cares?
No, I don't get to distribute anything illegally. I'm an honorable person. I've given you, I've sent you GOG installers, and I treat them as physical. Like, I don't play the game while you're playing the game that I gave you, because that's kind of what GOG kind of says. Like, if, like, I think in their FAQ that's kind of included of, hey, just if you do give them to your friends, just treat it as a physical copy and don't play it while they're playing. And it's like, yeah, like an honor system. Most people are honorable like that. Some people are gonna take advantage of things. I was looking in my research today to see what the situation with libraries is. I saw several people who were working on libraries saying on like various subreddits that their libraries used to lend out games and then they had to stop because some, like a very small number of people, were either stealing them or like borrowing them and then never returning them. And apparently there were like criminal rings of like doing this intentionally, going around and just stealing video games from libraries or making temporary accounts and stuff. And it's like, yeah, some people are fucking criminals. That happens in everything. Some people, I don't know, use cars as weapons. Should we ban cars?
Yes. Actually, for the environment, could be good.
I mean, you know, as I said that, I'm like, well, there's some arguments about banning cars for other reasons, but yeah.
I'm thinking about my first car being an electric car, and that's intimidating.
Okay. I'm curious, but this is for...
This is for the VoleMauder Drive cast.
Well, I'm up for doing that.
Yeah, but for different reasons. For driving
games. Let's talk about racing games.
Never other than for the goats or potentially any small indies that may be looking interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Last bit, like, I know this was like quite a negative episode, but there's always things you can do, and it's just to make conscious choices as a customer. Just know where your custom goes, know where your money goes. If you care at all about this medium to survive, know who you're supporting. Make sure that you are not giving away your money to like the wrong reasons. Make sure that your voice has been heard, and just, if you can, sign a petition that is for that, please do. I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but you can. Talk to your, complain to your government. Like, there has been cases recently that when it comes to game preservation, things have gone to court. If we're talking about Stop Killing Games, for example, that went there. That was just the little nerds like us starting it. So you can do things. It's not like everything is like doom and gloom.
I would say more the latter. I know that this thing with vote with your wallet is very popular as an attitude in the US. I don't know if that's because, this is me pure speculating here, people tend to have less political power in the US than in Europe, in certain areas in Europe. I don't think that's a good strategy. I think the vote with your wallet benefits the rich because they have way bigger wallets than us. The rich want you to believe that voting with your wallet matters because they're always going to outvote you. So we need to put effort and work into changing legislations. We need to make our voice heard where it will be listened to. And yeah, do vote with your wallet if that makes you feel better. I do that as well, knowing that it makes very little difference. It keeps my conscience cleaner, and that's one of the ways that I try to keep myself sane in this world. We are a little bit different than the everyday person, because now that we have a podcast, we have a platform, we have a public voice, so we also want to represent something. We want this to be to model something. We want this to be part of, like, I don't know if activism is too strong of a word, but some, like, it to be a force for something, a movement. So I will be way more strict with, like, what I support and what I support publicly, because it means something on that level. But I don't believe that on a small scale, someone buying or not buying something will make a lot of difference.
I partially agree and partially disagree with this. We have seen that boycotts in the past have made a real difference. We have seen when everything started happening with Palestine, for example, some boycotts against some companies have made a real impact, have made them hurt. I don't think that it's the best option. It's like kind of a minimum requirement. Like, depends on what you can do. The least you can do, for example, is go vote when it comes to politics. The least you can do with this is choose who you're supporting. I'm not saying go and support what you believe in just to support it. Do it if you like it as well. Like, I'm not saying spend money to make sure that they know that you want to spend money on this. Just know where you're spending the money in. And it's already like a massive movement that is starting in the last few years that we have seen it's made a difference. Just go see how Starbucks has hurt after their stance in the Palestine kind of situation.
Depends on what the goal is, though, because, like, is the goal to hurt Starbucks, or is the goal to change what's happening in Palestine?
Both, I guess. I don't know. Like, I'm not a financial AR analyst, political stuff, but I know that when something is doing something bad and they get less money, they can do less of that bad thing. Simple as that.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Or like the best case scenario here is that you send a message that, hey, you doing this bad is hurting you, so stop doing this bad.
Change or die.
Whatever the bad is, I know. But like, I don't believe that someone like Microsoft or, I don't know, Sony is a smaller scale company and does depend a lot on the gaming division, whereas Microsoft does not give a fuck about whether Xbox exists or not, I think, on some level, because on their level, they're so deeply embedded into governments around the Western world that whether you and I give them money is not going to really mean much.
At this point, yes, and also in the army. But at this point as well, like, they are losing regular users, like, on a daily basis. I made a move to Linux. There's so many other people that have done the same.
Yeah.
It will count to something.
Exactly. Like, for me, like, the whole boycott Xbox made sense because that's something that people can more plausibly and realistically boycott. Moving away from something like Windows and all these services, that I think, is more important than Xbox.
And it's
Do
happening.
both. If you can do both, do both. Like, I'm not saying don't boycott Xbox. It's just that.
Look, everyone can do a certain amount of things. If everyone does the minimum, this will be a big impact. So that's the only thing we can advocate for at this point, and continue to make sure that we represent what we believe is great art or not great art, and discuss it. Make sure that like this survives. It's up to us. So
yeah, it doesn't have to be great art. It's like part of cultural heritage of humanity. It can be bad art. Like Heavy Rain is an important part of the cultural heritage of humanity,
and we are covering it.
Yes.
So stay in the loop. So we're ending with a message of hope. Things will change. I don't know when and how, but we're waiting and seeing, and games will be there.
You're right. I think part of me is like part of what I'm saying is coming from a part of me that is a little bit
pessimistic,
cynical, feels a bit powerless, and it's a sense of powerlessness. But at the end of the day, we are way more in numbers than they are.
Mm-hmm. And there is
something that's easy to forget.
So,
yeah.
Beppis. So Beppis just joined us. Just at the end. What do you think, Beppis? What do you think about the physical games industry? I see. Okay.
Now that we've gotten Beppis' input as important, vital input in this, continue making noise and, I don't know, fight for what's important for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Don't give up.
We can do this. We can do this, man. Games are always going to be there. Support nice games. And you support us, the video game podcast, VoleMaulder Gamecast. Write us an email at podcast@VoleMaulderGames.com. Thank you, Beppis, for your valuable opinion.
Find us on Mastodon and Blue Sky. Check out Myrto on Blue Sky.
Yeah, thank you for the art, Myrto. And make sure to catch us on the next episode of the Seth Rogen, the VoleMaulder Gamecast.
Who the fuck is Seth Rogen?
Oh, you're such a lucky boy. Don't search it. Don't look up anything. Just stay as you are. It's fine.
Is that an actor? Like a blonde actor that always sounds like he's high? Seth Rogen?
I think I remixed him with Joe Rogan. Yeah, I did.
Is that okay?
I was trying to say Joe Rogan. And it's a Seth Rogen podcast. Yeah, Seth Rogen is a stoner actor guy.
Okay.
No, we like Seth Rogen. He's fine. I like him, but not that Joe Rogan. I ruined my own joke. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Send us your thoughts. Send us your vents if you need to vent about this shit, and we may read it on air or on ground if you don't want to be on air.
We provide free therapy for all of you out there that are struggling because of this situation. Bye.